Thank you for listening to Life Improvement Radio. You are listening to a rebroadcast of a previously recorded show.
We're live in the Miami Book Fair, powered by Life Improvement Radio here, neilhaley.com, and I'm excited to welcome my co-host, Eric Remmel. Eric, how are you? This goes so fast. You know, it's almost 2:30, and I love it because it's just fun to go live, because I really don't do a lot of things live. I really do a lot of pre-records, and when I could go live, especially with your platform, it's an honor every year to be on it, for sure, and to be on your network.
Oh, it flies by, and we're glad to have you, and it's a lot of fun, like you said. Everything's pre-recorded now. They're all podcasts or, pre-recorded radio shows and syndicated, so it's a lot of fun to keep the live element going and produce a live radio show for a few hours. So I'm enjoying it. Looking forward to our next interview with Todd.
Exactly, and I don't want radio to die. I'm tired. Never call me a podcaster, and if you do and you like it, then you can call me a podcaster, but that was never my plan. 9 years ago, there wasn't really podcasting. Eric and I we had it available on archives, but we never called ourselves podcasters 8 years ago or 9 years ago when we started about the same time. So I'm excited to welcome to the program author Don Davies. Don, thanks for calling, and Don, I'm a big fan of you now after you told me you're a fan of my show. So how are you, Don? And
I'm great. I am wonderful. Thank you so much. Yeah, it's easy to like someone who likes you first, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, that's true. But, I mean, everyone loves my interviews. It's one of the things that I had one of my best interviews with you because you listen. Because I don't come up with questions. I just have a conversation. I learned a lot about that from Larry King. And Larry King never, ever creates questions. He has talking points, and he waits to hear what the answer of that guest has, and that's how you come up with the next question. And I have to produce for one of my clients. We do a celebrity show together, and I always have to come up with questions for him. And it's so funny, and I know what my follow-up question will be. And I'm like, why do we have to have it so canned? Let's have a conversation. So, Don, is this your first time in Miami for the book fair?
It is not, because I grew up in South Florida. So I was raised here, not in Miami, but up in Broward County, where all that incredible voting sophistication is going on right now. And I left for a while. I was gone for several years and came back and raised my kids here. So I'm a Broward County girl, unfortunately, but fortunately, because it's a beautiful place to be.
Absolutely, and it's an interesting place, and it's crazy, right? For sure.
It's a crazy place. I say on my author bio, sometimes I'll write, because they like to know where you're from, and they want to know where I'm from, I'll say I'm from weird Florida, because it's exactly true, because I think Florida attracts people who think Florida will make their lives better, so there's a lot of interesting people down here, and I love it, because I love it. I love all kinds of folks, so they're all here.
Well, I'm going to tell you something really interesting, Don, and Eric, I'm going to let you go. I'm going to give you a question right after that, Eric. I wanted to laugh about this, Don. We have a morning show in Pittsburgh called Mikey and Bob. You can go and find it in a podcast. Mikey and Bob better give me a plug for plugging you guys. You're big stars in Pittsburgh, but I'm an international star, Mikey and Bob. But they do a segment in their morning show called Florida Stories. And every day they have a crazy Florida story. And it's so funny.
Yep.
It's hilarious.
Yeah, man barbecues dog, man eats boy's face off. I mean, you're going to find it here. If it's weird, it's going to be in the state. I heard somebody call Florida, what did they say? They said Florida is the Australia of the United States.
and who knows? And it's crazy. And when is your airport going to ever be better? It's a crappy airport, honestly.
Oh, wait. Are you talking about Miami or Fort Lauderdale Airport?
Miami.
Fort Lauderdale Airport.
Miami.
Yeah. I try to avoid that one, but, they're trying. But Fort Lauderdale is beautiful. You should try to fly into there.
Okay, fly into Fort Lauderdale and then drive to Miami. Makes no sense?
It actually makes sense.
Okay.
It does.
I'll have to think about that
next
time I'm on business. So let's talk about, Don, how you became an author. What was the reason for becoming an author?
Well, I started out as a reader, and I started out as a very early reader who was very, very obsessed with reading, even as a little kid. I have a memory of sitting at a high chair reading the Cheerio box and like the letters clicking into sounds, like it clicked, and I remember when that happened. So I've been an avid reader since I was a very young kid. And as I got older, I think I was accidentally studying writing without knowing I was studying it because I liked it so much and I read so much. I would reread authors I liked, or I would get on these tangents. and read all of an author's work. And then I started thinking, like I would read bad writing and go, that's the problem. I would be able to identify the problems with it. And I think I just sort of slid into, I think I was able to bypass somehow that really beginning stage where writing is terrible, because I think it was always easy for me because I was such a reader. So then, I raised kids. I had my kids kind of early, and then I raised them. And then when the first one went off to college, I went to graduate school for creative writing and studied it. And then I ended up getting an MFA, and then my thesis was published. I turned my thesis into a book. And Amy Einhorn at Flatiron Books took a chance on the manuscript. She said she loved it, and Flatiron Books published it, and they've been so good. They're wonderful to work with, and I'm really proud of the product. Book's a product. It's sad to say. It's art, but it's also a product. I'm really proud of how it came out.
Well, absolutely, and that's the things that happened. But what was the reasoning to write this book? You're happy how it came out.
To write this particular book?
Yeah. Well, yes, the particular book.
Yeah, so, I have an unusual take on things. I don't think I'm special, but I think I have a little bit of a different take on some things. So, even hard stuff, I kind of tend to look at with humor. And so there's a humorous look, a humorous lens through which I look. And so, life is tough sometimes, and bad things happen to you. And, people have surgeries, people get sick, people have, people's kids have problems, stuff happens. But I always kept it I've always been able to take a funny look on it, which I think is helped me from, being taken down by some of these hard things, because some of our hard things in our family were pretty hard. But I just wanted to see if I could write it the way I thought it, and if I thought it a certain way, because I think things are funny when they're serious, but the humor helps it, if that makes any sense at all. And then I wrote an essay, and it was about my dog who was killing all of our other pets, which is disgusting, and it's awful because there's animal death in this story. And I wrote it, and it ended up being really funny. And I think, I think I'm onto something, and I think that it makes me feel good to really write the way I think. So I guess, in a sense, it was a little bit therapeutic.
And so, write the way you think. That's very interesting in the process of doing that. And so, tell us about the book.
Okay, well, it's a collection of personal essays. So it's memoir, but it's sort of memoir, but it's sort of personal essays. So they're loosely connected chronologically somewhat, but they're all very independent. So you could just pick it up and open it and read any one essay, and it'll stand alone. But if you read it, hopefully my intent was if you read it all as a collection, you'll get kind of a kaleidoscope view of what a person's life would be like. And it's an ordinary life. I didn't do anything special. I'm not famous. I am sat in the suburbs of South Florida and raised kids. So it's every person's story, really. So I feel like it, I don't know. I love it. I look at it, it was kind of cathartic to write. And then when it was done, it became something I didn't have to think about anymore. Do you know what I'm saying?
I kind of get it. So what would you say was the hardest thing of writing something about yourself and these short stories that you're writing about? Mm-hmm.
Well, when you write true stories about yourself and then people read it, people think that they know you very well. You write with a persona. It's you, but it's also you made out of words, so it's not really you. But it is you because you're telling true stories. So I think one of the interesting things is that people, I get feedback from people. People will write to me and say they like the book, and they'll say, "Gosh, I feel like I know everything about you." And I'll take that as a compliment because I want to connect with people. I want readers to be able to take something that I've written that they can go, "Ooh, yeah," and apply that to their own lives. But at the same time, my private self is like, I just gave you a piece. I mean, we're all so complicated, But that persona, the idea of the persona, turning yourself into a character, is something that I'm constantly thinking about. It's also hard to write about other people besides yourself. So, I wrote about my children. They're not named in the book, and then I had their permission to write because they were all over 18 by the time I published, and I wouldn't have published it if anyone was unhappy with it, because you got to be really careful when you're writing about other people, And then one of the essays is actually about my son, who has some very particular difficult to diagnose issues, and he has some special needs. And we decided together, my son and I and my husband, to write about it, and because keeping it in the dark is never going to help anyone else. You know, because we can't be the only ones on the planet going through with what we're going through, what we were going through. So my son made a brave decision. He said, "Yep, let's put it out there and let's write about it," even though it was incredibly difficult to write about.
Yeah, those challenges in life are hard to write about, right? And then when you're finally over them at one point, and probably when you were dealing with those challenges, you probably thought it would never end, right?
Well, yeah, no, I mean, you know, my son has autism, but, you know, a lot of people have autism, but my son also had some other issues complicating his landscape, shall I say, that put him at risk for some very dangerous things, you know, potentially illegal things, and autism's tough, and
yes.
And when we were at our worst as a family, you think you're not getting out of it. You think there will be no way possible to look back and see this issue in the past. You think it's always going to be present with you. But, you know, I can look back at this and you know, this was kind of a snapshot of him at age 16, and he's 20 now. And he's doing so much better, and his life he's got a purpose in his life, and it's made such a difference. I mean, he's so much different that I can look at it and go, wow, that's in the past. And if that's something that I can help readers do in their own lives for whatever their own issues are, because we've all got our thing, you know.
Yeah, and you never know. But but it looked bad at times when he was dealing with real challenges. But now things are much better. That's the kind of thing that writing these books, it's hard. But then you say, wow, what was I thinking then compared to now? I'm so glad I'm writing my story because I'm going to change and help lots of people because of it. Right? You're going to help others because they're going to read about the struggles you've gone through and your family, and say, okay, I too can overcome these things.
Yeah, ultimately, you know, I write for readers. You know, I write to make a difference in people's lives. But there's a small part of it when I look back. So I write fiction too, but this doesn't happen with me with fiction. But with essays, I'll look at an essay and I'll look at it like, are you too old enough to remember photographs before we all had our stuff on our phone? You know, like looking through old boxes of photos.
Yeah.
It's like looking at an old photo. And you can remember being in that scene in the photo. It's like, I remember that couch. I remember with that shag rug. I remember that casserole on the table or whatever it is, right? But you know, my readers won't remember that, but they'll be able to take a little element of it that resonates with them and use it for their own lives. This isn't a self-help book. I mean, it's just stories. But hopefully there will be a little something from our readers, you know?
And that's what's so important, Dawn, and why you want people to read the book and to hear those stories and different things, but even things you wrote about your childhood and your life. That's taking a chance, right, to write about that. How are my readers that have read my other stuff going to feel about me opening up and telling truly my life?
Oh, yeah, I get very...
People talk to you, say, yeah.
Oh, they feel like they know me really, really well. And, you know, they know a piece of me. They know a piece of me that I choose to share. That's not really knowing someone very well. So when you know someone really well, you know their bad stuff and their good stuff. But, you know, as an author, I can edit. You know, I'm not lying, but I can choose to leave out certain things or put certain things in for emphasis. And I'm pretty raw. Like, I think people connect with me because I'm very visceral. If some kid's throwing up in the door tracks of the sliding glass door, I say it, you know. My dogs kill animals. I talk about it, you know. I talk about kidney stones. I talk about being the first person on the scene of an accident, and where a girl died in my arms. I mean, these things they're raw, and they're things that some people in polite societies won't talk about. But I like that stuff. I think that's real life.
It's real life, and there are challenges that we deal with, and we just have to keep moving forward. And you're helping you're helping the autism community by this book, and you're also helping other mothers that are challenging with children with special needs and everything to learn about you and what makes you tick. And you're out there putting yourself out there, and you should be commended for doing that, because you could have kept writing other types of books, Dawn, but you said, what the heck, let's do it. All right, so where's the best place we can find info on you and Dawn and learn more about you? Where can we go?
Oh, you can go to my website. I've cut myself off from most social media. I canceled my Twitter, I canceled my Facebook, and I've got a little Instagram.
Oh, no.
I know, I did. But I have a website. It's all this political stuff going on. It's much more mentally healthy to stay away from it for me. I can focus on my writing better. But anyway, my website, DawnDaviesBooks.com. And I have a blog, and you can get updates on my stuff there. DawnDaviesBooks.com.
Well, you're fabulous, and I now feel like my work means something after you telling me you enjoyed my interviews. So
I do. I love them.
Those things. Yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you so much, and we'll stay in touch, keep in touch, make sure, I guess, you could just go ahead and email me. My email's on my website, and we could stay in touch, and best of luck in all these different things. And I definitely will mention you to the autism community of other areas. I covered AutFest for the National Autism Society. It was really, they only did it, I think they did it a second year. Now they're looking for a different location, but I really had a great time, and I work with the autism community in a lot of ways. So best of luck with your ventures, and I will definitely mention them to you.
Yeah,
so,
point them to Mothers of Sparta. Thank you so much. Bye.
Yeah. All right, take care. Thanks. Bye. You're listening to Neil Haley's show, powered by Life Improvement Radio, live from the Mind Book Fair, and we'll be back in just a moment.
Thank you for listening to Life Improvement Radio. The views expressed by show hosts or their guests are their own and shall not be construed in any way as advice from Life Improvement Radio. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our website. Personal perspectives expressed by the producers, writers, or editors will always be presented as such. Any rebroadcast or retransmission without the expressed written consent of Life Improvement Radio is strictly prohibited. Thanks for listening.